Well, hello. My name is Caleb Murnall, and today I'll be sharing my theory of knowledge presentation on how multimedia affects our perception of what is fundamentally good. The areas of knowledge I'll be focusing on throughout this presentation are ethics, art, and human science. The ways of knowing I'll be focusing on are reason and emotion. The central knowledge question of this presentation is as follows. To what extent has multimedia affected what we perceive as fundamentally good? You see, since the dawn of philosophy, we've tortured ourselves with ethical dilemmas, struggling to decide what answer is good and what answer is bad, struggling for hours, days, and lifetimes to find the correct answer. But there wasn't one, and that's the beauty of ethical dilemmas. There is no correct answer. That was, of course, until movie and game developers stepped in. They took simple ethical dilemmas and chose groups to symbolize each answer. These groups are heroes and villains. By using these two groups to polarize the answers to ethical dilemmas, we're essentially giving answers to ancient questions and defining what is fundamentally good. Being as the devastation this quote-unquote villain cause is still fresh in our brain, the first ethical dilemma I'd like to discuss is that of Thanos.
I don't feel so good.
You're all right.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know.
The idea of trading lives is one of my personal favorite ethical dilemmas, and I believe its extremist outlook on the same dilemma as portrayed in the movie is quite extravagant. The dilemma is proposed by Thanos. When discussing the fate of his home planet, he states that the universe has a finite amount of resources, and the only way to ensure survival is to get rid of some people, essentially trading lives. He even assures it's a random and fair system. What's very interesting in the Infinity Wars movie that isn't present in a lot of the other examples is the fact that the quote-unquote heroes are given the same ethical dilemma. They're offered to kill one person, Vision, to ensure the lives of half the universe. I think this is very important that we focus on this point, as both sides are given the option of sacrificing the few to save the many. Being as both sides gave different answers, the writers and directors are essentially brainwashing the public by showing us what the good guys chose versus what the bad guys chose, and creating the entire movie and the entire plot of the movie being about stopping said bad guy's decision. And by doing this, they created a sort of correct answer to the ethical dilemma, solidifying their definition of what is fundamentally good. A similar ethical dilemma is the idea of how to save the world. The simple answer is to get rid of the bad in the world, destroy what is destroying the world. But to anyone who has seen the Avengers Age of Ultron, they'd know that that's the wrong answer. Two main Avengers heroes, Bruce Banner and Tony Stark, posed this ethical dilemma to the artificial intelligence Ultron. Ultron gave them his answer.
No. How could you be worthy? You're all killers.
In order to save the planet and everything on the planet, he had to eliminate all evil on the planet. Being as there's no one person or one animal that is perfect, Ultron's simple solution was to destroy everyone. This once again gives this answer to the ethical dilemma a bad name. By connecting the solution to that of a villain, you're saying the answer is not good. Which I believe is really unfair, because when we really step back and analyze what is good, what fundamentally classifies as good or bad, is any one person truly good or bad? God and the devil? Possibly, but I believe that's too subjective, and I believe when we step out of the religious realm and try not to look at the world through a religious framework, the line between good and bad becomes very faint. I believe the ideas of good and bad are solely subjective and have no explicit definition. The two are interchangeable, which is why it is a problem for movie and game developers to put these labels of good and bad on our protagonists. By labeling heroes and villains as good or bad, we then make every decision that follows them good or bad. The last example of multimedia developers influencing what we classify as good comes from one of my personal favorite franchises, Borderlands. In Borderlands 2, we are introduced to the main villain, Handsome Jack, a psychopath that is prone to violence and has sociopathic tendencies. You play through the game and you foil his plans, you save the day, woohoo. It's pretty simple. Pretty and simple until you play the third game, Borderlands the pre-sequel.
Big bastard, wasn't he? Nicely done. Keep an eye out for that creepy red one. I don't want to get interrupted. Wait, What? That's it? That little thing. The hell did...
Oh, what kind of weapon?
Oh my God! I get it! I understand! I understand everything!
Hey, handsome.
Cool. Throughout the third game, we see a good handsome Jack, a hero in fact. He's even introduced as the hero in the beginning of the game. But as the game progresses, we watch friend after friend turn on him. Within the first mission, we see a lifelong friend of him pull a gun on him. Slowly through the game, we find out that his home life was abusive, suffering a lot of abuse from his mother figure, his grandmother. And at the end of the game, we the player destroy an ancient relic, and we essentially curse Jack with knowledge, and we severely scar his face. Now going back to the second game, knowing what caused his psychopathic behavior and what caused his revenge-fueled rage, can we really be mad at him? Can we truly blame him? Who is truly wrong in this situation? Jack for being violent and angry, or the player for causing this? I think this dilemma is especially important when comparing to current real-life events. In recent years, it's become pretty much a joke that the bullied kid is going to turn around and shoot up the school. The dilemma is who is to blame, the kid that did the crime or the kids that pushed him to that point? Who truly has the murders on their hands, and are either parties really good? Which is why I once again believe it is unfair for developers to label these characters as good or bad, because now when witnessing the dilemma in real-life situation, we stick with what we've been taught. We classify sides as good or bad without even hearing the stories. We may conclude that multimedia widely affects the way we perceive good. The only time good is truly defined is within the religious realm. So by stepping out of religious framework and analyzing what we're presented in multimedia, we can see that creators have polarized popular answers to common ethical dilemmas, and by doing this have created a right and wrong answer, therefore solidifying their definitions of what is fundamentally good and fundamentally bad.